and good morning everyone, especially to our dearest professor, Mr. Jonah Badilis. I am John Brian Lacorte, your third presenter from this group. At this moment of time, let us continue our discussion about preparing the speech, including the organized content, praise the speech, prepare visual aid, and practice, practice, practice. I know all of you here had a prior knowledge in preparing some speeches. We should consider some factors to deal with it, as well as our strategy to impart it effectively our point of view from the audiences. Before we dig deeper to our discussion, let me tell you first some facts. When you are prepared in doing speeches, it is easy for you to convey your audiences from your words. This helps you to become a better speaker, which lead to a positive communication within the forum. These last 4 tips will completely cope up your lapses in preparing within speeches, and that helps you to become an efficient one. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, and lend me your ears because we are about to start. At this juncture, let's talk about organized content. Organizing content has a logical flow, just makes sense. Using chapters, headings, and subheadings to organize a resource that allows students to clearly see how the main concepts are related. The importance of this step cannot be stressed enough for both speeches and paper presentations. Many presenters do not realize that presenting a paper does not mean the paper is read word for word and breakneck speed. Rather, the information has to be recast for the new medium. Don't be bound by the flow of your paper. This means organize your ideas based on the audience, occasions, and purpose of your presentations. For example, if you're presenting some speeches, be sure that your content is concise and easy to formulate so that your audiences, yet the readers, will fully understand the topic. Furthermore, we should not also forget some standards to be followed in organizational format, such as introduction, body, and conclusion, which translates into standard public speaking formula. First, tell them what you are going to tell them, meaning inform your audiences on what topic will you going to speak of. This helps them to become oriented and to avoid false conclusion while you are speaking. Second, tell them while you are in stage and about to open the topic, be sure to tell them the exact details and the truth, since your objective here is to impart it the purity only. Lastly, tell them what you've told them. At the end of your statement, recap your main point because it helps everyone to retain the information you gave. This time, outline the body of your first talk, limiting it to 3 or 4 points, with sufficient supporting materials to back up those points. Too much information can lose an audiences. Well-organized key points help an audience remember them and allow for easy note-taking. Also, if presenting a paper, your goal is to whet the appetite of the audience with the key ideas so that they will want to get a copy of your full paper to read at a later time. After you have outlined the body of your speech or paper, prepare the introduction and conclusion. Your introduction should start out with an attention getter, which can be an anecdote, a quotation, a question, a joke, or whatever is appropriate for the topic and audience. Introduction is also your opportunity to build rapport between you and the audience. Tell them why your speech or paper is relevant to them and that you are glad to be speaking to them. A colleague related to me an opening remark by a speaker which did not serve to build rapport between her and the audience, even though she probably intended it to. The speaker said, "Is essence. I've been to 100 of these, and to tell you the truth, I really don't want to be here. My feet hurt and I don't know what I'm going to say. But we'll get through this together. Please treat your audience as if they are guests in your home." Once you've told your audience why they should want to listen to you, lead into your talk by briefly previewing the major points to be covered in your speech. Tell them what you're going to tell them. The conclusion should include the summary of the main point. Tell them what you tell them, and the final statement that leaves the audience with something to think about the remembered. This will depend on the purpose of your speech. For your talk, I suggest you write the main idea of your introduction, your body, and conclusion on 3x3 note cards that are numbered in case you drop them. Many speakers write delivery cues on the card. Example, slow down, which emphasize this word, look at the audience. You can also indicate transitions on the card so you will move smoothly from idea to idea. Overall, be sure your note card are just that easy to read notes on easy to handle cards and not the speech written in full. Also, movement is fine, but only if it is controlled. Your audience does not want to feel it is a tennis match. This time, let's talk tip number 8, which is praise the speech. In the previous steps, it involves preparing the message. At this juncture, we are ready to work the delivering the message. Usually, a type of delivery must appropriate is the extemporaneous delivery. With extemporaneous speaking, you are truly prepared and practiced, but the exact wording of the speech is determined at the time you actually speak the words. You want to avoid memorizing your talk. Instead, know your key ideas and translate them into words as you speak. This means you have to think about what you are saying as you are speaking. Each time you practice, you may say your speech a little bit differently, but this allows flexibility and the chance to adapt to your audience if needed. Speaking extemporaneously can be difficult to achieve at first, but this style to delivery creates spontaneously, which can affect the receptivity of your audience to you and your ideas. Now, we were going to talk about the tip number 9, which is prepare visual aids. Visual aids, if appropriate for your speech or presentation, can help your audience remember your points and clarify information. It might be by using Betamax, the new way of presenting right now using the WPS or whatever presentation you use in order to present your main idea. Speech textbooks usually emphasize the following when covering visual aids. Make sure the audience can see the visual aid. Show the visual aid only when you are referring to it, and talk to the audience, not to the visual aid. Also practice with a visual aid. Using visual aids can add to the length of the talk and can cause you to become flustered if you run into difficulties. Additionally, if you have the audience handouts, distribute them at the end of your talk if possible. An audience's attention can shift easily to a handout instead of staying focused on you. And for our last tips, practice, practice, practice. As we have the quote, practice makes perfect. Otherwise, practice makes better. Practicing your presentation or speech contributes directly to your success as a speaker. As you practice, consider both your verbal and non-verbal delivery. Your vocal delivery includes the volume, the rate, the pitch. Strive for vocal variety, which is the variation of these elements, like loudness or softness, or the volume itself, the fastness or the slowness, which refers to the rate, the highness or the lowness, which talks by the pitch. An expressive voice will engage an audience. A monotonous, flat voice will lose one. Also remember that non-verbal delivery carries as much weight as verbal. Eye contact with your audience is crucial. And this means actually looking at the audience members. Hamilton Gregory says, to look at the audience 75% to the time is a friendly, sincere way, using the other 5% of the time to look at your notes. 5 as your posture. Don't slouch and avoid shifting your weight from foot to foot. Also, movement is fine, but only if it is controlled. Your audience does not want to feel it is at a tennis match. Gesturing can be an effective element to your talk, but only if it is controlled. Many speakers indicate on note cards when you gesture or move in order to reinforce a point. I hope you've learned a lot from the 10 tips in preparing the speech. Once again, I am John Brian Lacorte, your last presenter from this group. God bless and have a great blast. Thank you so much.